5 things to know about buying real estate here in the state of Oklahoma, coming right up. Hey everybody, Stacy Hester here, your favorite realtor in all of Southern Oklahoma, and I have 5 things that you need to know before purchasing real estate here in the state of Oklahoma. There's a few things here that makes us just a little bit unique. Maybe you've experienced this in other places, but maybe not all in the same state. So first up, abstracting. So Oklahoma is one of 2 states that still has abstracting. There might be some other little pockets or areas within a state that might have abstracting, but this is something that's statewide for Oklahoma. When you move here, or actually when you just purchase real estate here, you will have to go through some kind of abstracting process unless you're doing just a quick claim deed, which can cause problems. So just buyer beware if you're doing a transaction with a quick claim deed. So what is an abstract? An abstract is strictly just a history of the land that you are purchasing that a house might be sitting on. It is held separate from a deed to a house. They are 2 different entities. Because of this, this is an added layer to our closing process when you are purchasing real estate here in the state of Oklahoma. Each county has its own Hi, buddy. Each county has its own abstracting office, and each county will be responsible for bringing those abstracts up to date. So this is something that is paper here in the state of Oklahoma. Yes, we are not in any kind of an electronic filing system at this point in time. I have tea here and you are just going to knock this over. So let's move that because I love you. Anyway, when you purchase real estate, the abstract has to be brought up to date. It's typically the listing agent that will be advising their client that they need to take it to the title company in order to have that abstract brought up to date. Each county in the state of Oklahoma has an abstracting plant or an abstracting office that is responsible to do that. You can either have the abstract in hand physically, like I said, it's paper, so it's a physical item that you can have that's sealed, or it's going to be at the abstract office. So it's going to be in one of 2 places. If it cannot be found, then that seller has to pay to have an abstract built. So what does this really mean for you? This actually means when you're purchasing something here that it's going to take longer. You have to go through the abstracting process first. And those abstracting offices have anywhere from 14 to 17 days, depending. And those are business days that they have to bring that abstract up to date or build one. So there are some parts in the metros, you can still close on a property, usually in about 30 days. But when you get outside of the metro areas, you can expect to be about 45 days. So mineral rights are a thing here in the state of Oklahoma, but in most cases, families have sold off their mineral rights to other parties. So what does this mean? I don't want to put anybody in a panic because you're purchasing something without mineral rights. You can easily purchase something that has a pump jack on it. So if you do, there are easements that are involved in that, and whoever owns the mineral rights to that particular pump jack or oil collection system or whatever it is that they have on your property, they have a right to, there's usually a driveway going to it, and they have some area around the pump jack or the property that they would have an easement around, and they would have access to that at any time of the day. Something else that makes Oklahoma unique. In one of my previous videos, I talked about lakes of Carter County. There's actually 5 different lakes that are in Carter County, but something that definitely makes us unique is most of the lakes, if not all of the lakes, I'd have to Google that, are actually levied. So because the lakes are levied, typically the land that surrounds the lake is owned by the Corps of Engineers. And it's not property that you can purchase or build on. So lake houses, if you are looking for a true lakefront property in the state of Oklahoma, I'm not going to say they don't exist. but they are pretty few and far between. If you're asking about a lake house in the state of Oklahoma, I'm going to ask you to explain yourself. What does that mean to you? Because for some people, it means a lake house just means that they're going to be, within 2 to 5 miles of having a boat launch. And that here, for the most part, for Oklahomans means that you have a lake house. The next thing I'm going to talk about, Oklahoma has a lot of clay in our land. So what does this do for houses? A lot of our houses are built on slab. So clay has a tendency to shrink a lot and also expand. So this process of shrinking and expansion is like an ice cube, if you will. And ice cubes, as you know, from a little bit of shrinking and expansion, crack over time. Well, the same thing happens to our land here where we have clay. When your land cracks, the slab sitting on top of it can crack too. So we definitely have our share of foundation issues here in my area. It gets to be really pocketed, and it also gets to be a little bit builder dependent to understand there's some areas that you're going to run into foundation issues, and there's some areas that you're not going to run into foundation issues. And it literally can be this section of 5 homes is in a bad area, or this section of 5 homes isn't. So asking for a good area to be in or a bad area, it's too pocketed, too spread out to really be able to identify something like that. All I can ever really suggest is just going into a home and taking a look at it. There are some different ways that you can go about actually fixing a home with foundation issues. It is correctable. Foundations can be stabilized, but it's usually expensive, and there's a whole industry here that's been built around it. I'm not going to say that buying a house that has had foundation issues is bad. I've definitely seen some foundation corrections that have done very well, and they typically come with some kind of home warranty as a result. But if you do purchase a house that had foundation issues, you'll be seeing, if it's bad enough, you'll definitely see some significant cracking in the home. But there's a difference between foundation cracks and just cracks from settling. So I've also been in homes where there's cracks in the slab that are like, you can literally like stick your hand down in there. So anywhere from mild, not settling, mild, moderate to sticking a hand down inside. The last thing I'm going to talk about is really just kind of informational only, but I'm going to talk about the Indian nations that are here in the state of Oklahoma, because about half of the state is actually governed by Indian nations. So when I talk about that, it does not impact real estate, and it only affects people that are of Indian blood should something happen, should a crime be committed, and the law has to get involved. If that's the case, then you actually would be tried in Indian court, not necessarily in the state courts here of Oklahoma. But because the state of Oklahoma is governed in part by these Indian nations, it does not impact real estate, purchasing or selling real estate here in the state of Oklahoma. Just know that they exist, and you'll see benefits for them. You'll see services around in the counties for them. But as far as real estate goes, it's really a non-issue. That's about it. That's what makes the state of Oklahoma pretty unique. So like I said, these are things that you may have experienced in other states in different ways, but we have it all. So when you purchase real estate here in the state of Oklahoma, when you're moving here to Oklahoma from another place, just know that these are things to just be aware of and be a little bit educated on, to understand your timing of processes, things to look at in homes that you might be considering to purchase. And anyways, I just want to make that transition for you as smooth as possible. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to call or text. All my information is in the details below, but that's all I got for you today. I hope you stay tuned for another video. I would love to keep you on here to get informed on buying real estate in the state of Oklahoma, or selling real estate in Oklahoma, or even just learning a little bit more about what all we've got going on down here. So But that's it. That's what I got for you today. If you like this video, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. And if you love this video, want to see this happy, smiling little face every single week, then please be sure to hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. Bye.